So, today's video, I want to talk about the honeymoon phase in Gacha. Now, TLDR at the beginning, basically I'm going to be talking about why it is that the first year of a new Gacha is so enjoyable, but after this they tend to start to slowly fall off, right? Now, this isn't supposed to direct hate towards any specific gachas. This is something I've experienced in both HSR and WUA, and I'd like to share my thoughts on this out there to see other people's thoughts on it, right? So, for those who don't know, a little bit ago, I made a community post 7 hours from this recording saying I'm in disbelief Yuno's 40% amp that only works on Augusta made it to live. Forget her signature weapon, that's what everyone's going to be talking about instead. Now, for those who don't know and don't keep up with the current beta, it'll probably be revealed within a few days from now. However, Yuno has this very specific buff in her kit that basically only Augusta as a DPS can access, right? So here I'll say it quite quickly for you all. Blessing of the Wan Light. So in Full Moon domain, all resonators inside this domain regain health and stamina. Gaining a shield inside the domain grants 1 stack of Blessing of the Wan Light, and this can be triggered every 0.5 seconds. Blessing of the Wan Light, the receiving resonator gains 4% old damage amp for 10 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. Gaining new stacks resets the duration, and this effect ends early if the receiving resonator is switched off the field. So you cannot stack Blessing of the Wan Light on other characters and then switch to your DPS because it'll instantly refresh when you switch, right? So this matters because Augusta has a passive in her kit where every 0.5 seconds, right, oh my god, coincidence, she refreshes her own shield. So this means Augusta can get an extra 40% damage amp from Yuno that no one else can get in the entirety of the game within 5 seconds, right? So that is this whole thing with like Augusta and Yuno. They're basically tailor-made for each other. I don't even want to get into, you know, the whole they're literally on the same patch thing as well, right? Kuro has been doing this quite consistently lately. They did it with Chacona and Cartethia back-to-back banners. They did it with Zanny Phoebe same phase. They're now doing it with Augusta Yuno on the exact same patch. They really just don't care when it comes to their banner placement, and it's like so fucking predatory, right? But that aside, this is mainly to just talk about, you know, the context of this community post I made. And then someone down here says, in the recent survey, I point out this exact issue of niche DPS support synergy and also the reason why I didn't pull Prolova. I hope they realize it sooner, as the gacha revenue for the July month of WUA has dropped a lot. I think Zanny making a huge sum of money with such a trash kit motivated them to make such more. What are your thoughts on the matter? And then it's my reply that made me decide, you know what, why not make a video on this? So I replied, I don't think they'll stop. I've said it once, I'll say it again. For most gachas, the first year is simply the blueprint, and that's why they have no problem making generalist characters / weapons, since the amount of limited characters in the first year time frame isn't that large. The second a new year hits is when they start getting more predatory with character kit restrictions or massive weapon jumps, because they've already amassed a large player base who will keep playing anyways. This is pretty similar to what happened in HSR. Even WUA's massive whimpering waste HP inflation happened at near the same time in the game's lifespan as when HSR started getting its bad HP inflation. On top of this, they're also introducing 2 new hazard floors, incentivizing people to pull for another new team. So, as you can see, that's my take on it, basically. I think that the first year for a lot of these gacha games is simply tricking, fooling people into trying their game and giving them actual incentives, good rewards, signature jumps aren't that crazy, good banner rates, right? They want to show you that they're better than these other behemoths in the gacha space so that they can give you a reason to play them. And it's in this first year where they're usually pretty generous, they're pretty kind, they give very good rewards, they listen to feedback, but it's after this first year where gachas you usually start to get more predatory, right? They now have like a much larger dedicated fan base who just doesn't care about the predatory tactics and plays the game because they simply enjoy it, which there's nothing wrong with that. But this simply means that they now have a consistent flow of money that they can rely on, and this means that they can also get more adventurous when it comes to their predatory tactics, right? I don't think it's talked about enough that we literally got the negative status effect first full main DPS team on this game's anniversary, which is like something else, right? The polls for the anniversary were also underwhelming. It's also, once you realize this, right, like once we entered into Renacida with like Brant and Zanny was one of the first main DPSs with a large signature jump, similar in the level to Brant. And when I complained about this, a lot of people attacked me. They said, oh, it's gonna get better, this is just a one-off thing, and it's only continued to get worse, right? So now, as of recent, we had the Prolova signature weapon situation. We have Augusta, who gets a near 40% jump as well from her signature. However, you now also have this other problem in WUA, as mentioned earlier, where this game, this company, seems to be making a specific niche support that is only meant to be best in slot for 1 or 2 characters. And this makes their general value pretty trash, and this is what Kuro is actually aiming for, because they want you to pull a DPS in a pair or bundle these days, right? They don't want another SK situation where people can just use an absolutely amazing alternative for basically every team in the game. They simply don't want this to happen anymore, and they learned from this, I guess, and they realized if we make a Zanny Phoebe, if we make a Prolova Canarella, if we make an Augusta Yuno, if we make a Cartethia Chacona, right? If we make these types of teams, then we can make more money off of it, and it's obviously more profitable for them. And I imagine, given that they're continuing to do this, that this is true, and it's been quite profitable for them to keep doing shit like this, and they're only going to continue doing it if the numbers are big enough, right? So this is my hot take, maybe not so hot take. I just want to get my opinion out there and hear others. The first year of a gacha game is the honeymoon phase, where they're basically just trying to lure you with whatever tactics possible. And then after this first year is when they actually show their true colors, right? That's my take on it. Once again, this isn't meant for any specific hate towards WUA. HSR is currently getting more predatory as well, okay? Cassie has the largest sig jump in the game. We're getting new paths. Mono Remembrance team. Oh my god, I have so many community posts and videos at this point shitting on that, right? Please do not mistake this for something trying to incite, gacha war between communities. This is something I have experienced in both of these games, right? HSR and WUA are the 2 main games I currently play, and I have played I didn't play HSR on launch, actually. I played HSR right before Penacony, but I did play WUWA on launch and since then, right? So these are the two games I just have the most knowledge on, and so I feel the most, free to talk about these two in this type of light. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Hope you all have a great day. Hope you have a great night, and peace out.